Welcome back to another Inward Authority podcast. Today we will be discussing the formula element of time and soul. The soul has to do with our living or being. What are we doing with our being? Are we being with God? We can review our schedule of activity. How much time we apply thinking and practicing God's goodness will impact how we grow. The options can vary from 1 minute a week to all day every day. Our time invested has two parts: duration and frequency. Duration is how much time we remain a focused participant, while frequency describes how often. We choose the duration and how often we are being with God. We all have the same amount of time. We just choose to invest it differently. If we agree to obey God, then we will learn how to do what God says. I don't have time is a response that could indicate we have other things more important than growing with God. For now, we ought to simply try to learn more about our choices and habits. Our schedules of activity will follow our choices and habits. Some of our habits operate at an unconscious level. Writing down all our activities can bring them more into our awareness. This is necessary in order to grow and make changes. To change means to be different. We will need to be different with our choices and actions, with ones that can better align with the development of God's character. Remember, time investment is one element, still needing the others: thought, heart, diligence, biblical study, and spiritual focus. If John goes to church, serves as a greeter on Sundays, and runs a Bible study on Wednesdays, then John could spend roughly 3 hours or so each week toward his growth. Take a moment and think about or share with one another how much time you've been spending with God and how that impacts your relationships. What have you done to improve your time with God? How do we individually gauge what is an appropriate amount of time to invest in our growth with God? Well, this is going to vary by what we want or desire. If our goal is to maximize our potential to be with God, then we ought to encourage ourselves toward our potential. Instead of the question, how much time should we invest, we can ask, how much time can we invest? It's an individual choice, not a mandate. It can't be done to check boxes. We will need to convince ourselves to passionately seek God with more time. This must not be done through beating ourselves up with shame or self-anger. Kicking ourselves within our minds to get going is a motivation brought by evil ways. Instead, we ought to develop some goal-oriented encouragement, like, I can do this, or focus on what's next, or God, please help me listen to your direction. We can let go of the control and shift our attention to let God's love and grace help us. As we evaluate ourselves, we can ask questions. Is growing with God more important than our other activities? If God is going to be our greatest goal and teacher, then our schedule of activity can indicate that. We can do it if we put in the time to learn through new practices of love, peace, mercy, forgiveness, truth, justice, and compassion. The idea that this is impossible is a lie. People go through life-changing events all the time where some adapt and some quit. We will need to choose whether to adapt and how much we will apply ourselves toward the formula. Champions learn to give their all, like the word all in the greatest commandment of God. According to a 2017 CNBC article, Michael Phelps, a decorated Olympian, was in the pool swimming 3 to 5 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can improve in the way we are with God everywhere we go within our minds, hearts, and to any activity if we choose to do it. God is available everywhere all the time. God is convenient and always accessible if we are humble and ready. Growing with God means we will be increasing our time thinking, practicing, and participating in godly character. The amount of time isn't the goal. Increasing the time is the goal. For one person, that could be 5 minutes a day. For another, it could be an hour a day. It depends upon where a person is in their development. It has been suggested and taught by many different people to practice daily prayer and meditation. There are books and apps created with 30-day challenges. Our time with God can grow if we choose to do it. Please see Psalm 119, Acts 26:7, 1 Thessalonians 3:10, 2 Timothy 1:3, and John 15. It can be easy to dismiss our ability to increase with God. If we are going to grow with our faith and belief, we will need to correct such thoughts. Please listen to the next Growth Formula podcast on Diligence. Thank you for listening, and may God be with you on your journey.